Welcome to a new video in my 7¼ Loco build series, and this video is going to be another video where I'm not going to have a lot of progress, even though I think I finished the pantograph design, mostly because it's been very hot in the last couple of weeks, so I was mostly working in the evenings. It's like plus 30 degrees or 25 even at midnight, you know, all the work I was doing it in the late evening, you know, fairly dark, so the footage wouldn't be good enough. And to be honest, the things that I've done since the last videos are pretty minor. I mean, I think previously you could see pretty much the whole pantograph designed already. So what I have been doing is I had these arms, and obviously I fabricated these diagonal members and I welded them together, and this was made from an M6 bolt with an Allen key on it. So obviously I just chopped off the end. There will be an M6 screw here when it is finally assembled. But yeah, I think the rest is, you know, pretty much complete. I put this into the vise and I created these double bends on the pickup, as it should, you know, normally look like. And of course I still have to manufacture, or you know, get some springs manufactured here, which is going to keep the pantograph upright. So at the moment it's just held on with some wires at the moment, so it, you know, sort of looks like a pantograph when it's raised. What you can also see here is I had these horns 3D printed a long time ago, probably back in January or February, and I just manufactured a small bracket for it. So it just you know, flat bars that I welded on. I had to bend this piece a little bit, so the two horns are not perpendicular but at an angle, and I welded it on, and I'm just trying to smooth the weld out with some Bondo. That's the white stuff that you can see here. So I still need to just grind it down, or yeah, what is it? Yeah, just smooth it out. The other thing I've done is I wanted to add these high voltage wires, or wire mock-ups. So that's, I've done one here, and I've done a slightly different shape for the other side. And again, this is just a piece of a wire that is bent to this particular shape, and it's welded onto an M6 bolt. And that's going to be on the roof. And I printed a few more of these isolating, what is it, standoffs, and that's how it's going to look like on the roof. And by the way, I already disassembled the other pantograph because it is pretty much ready for painting. And one other thing I wanted to show is again, here I just added a piece of Bondo here, which I already sanded down. So that's done. And just one second. I have the two other arms here. So again, here the welds are not really nice, so I added more Bondo, and I'm just going to, and I'm planning to smooth this down again, so it looks a little bit more presentable. And you know, these edges as well. I just wanted to give some extra material because when I was trying to grind down the weld, it wasn't really nice. So in some places I had to add a little bit of material, but I think it's going to look okay. I already bought some red paint, just normal, you know, this spray can. So I'm planning to paint this maybe even today or tomorrow, or in the next couple of days. I'm also really trying to get this body done. I think there is one more weld that I need to do on this top plate, because I want this to be hinged like this, so I have access to the switches and everything, which is going to be under here. So I have the hinge here, I need to weld this on, and once that is welded, and then I think all the fabrication on this body is going to be done, and then it should be ready for painting. And I'm just a little bit, you know, worried about the paint again, because it's really, really hot, and I think in most paints it is stated that it should be, you know, the spray painting should be done under 25 degrees, and it's just like, you know, 35 in the last week. but hopefully that's going to drop in a couple of weeks, and it's going to be ready for painting. But having said that, before I can do the painting, I have some more filler work and sanding work here that I should do, and I've also manufactured some hand rails in these places. So I'm thinking that maybe before I do the painting, I should really install these handrails and probably just tack weld them from the inside and then paint the whole thing. So probably I should do that as well. So there is a lot of things that I need to finalize before I can apply the paint, and I'm just really looking forward to do the painting. And finally, I wanted to point the camera to the other side of the workshop, and here I have all the wheels that I got CNC machines, and there you can see the axles, and those are all done. And I think I have a lot more other. So the other thing which I I asked somebody to do the machining on this one because I bought this gear from a store. Obviously it had the wrong diameter inside, so I needed a machinist with a lathe to enlarge it and also add the keyway here. So that's going to go onto the shaft of the motor, and unfortunately the place here where it is the same diameter, it's more than the this gear. So I'm not sure how I'm going to buffer this. Well, I have one idea. I think I'm going to use washers. So I have some M10 washers which I need to enlarge the hole on them a little bit, and also file the keyway on for them. So the idea is that there is going to be one washer here, and then the gear, and then the other washer, and I could use the factory bolt to press everything on and secure it in place. So that's how the drive gear is going to be mounted on the motor. It is free spinning at the moment because I didn't put the key in, but you could probably see the keyway on the shaft. So that is something that I still need to do. And by the way, this black piece is a motor mount from the China's factory. Obviously, I'm not going to use this, but it just makes it easy to secure the motor in a vise if I need to work on this temporarily until it goes into the engine. And of course, I'm going to use the same mounting points in the Loco that is used on this bracket. And I'm not exactly sure if I've shown you this before, but I have a few other bits for the drive done. I mean, these were completed a couple of weeks ago, probably even a month. So these are the other gears. These gears are going to be on the axle. So there is a gearing ratio from this big gear to the small gear. Based on my calculation, with this motor, if I have a 1-to-1 drive, with the wheel size, I would have a top speed of, I think it's 15 kilometers per hour, that's what I calculated. Or maybe it's only 9. But anyway, I wanted a little bit of, I wanted more speed. So I decided to increase the gearing. So this is a 25 tooth gear, and this is a 16 tooth gear. So that's going to be the, well, not the reduction, but how do you say, the other way around. So these sprockets are going to go onto the axle, that's going to go onto the motor, and of course I'm going to use the same sprockets between the two axles because there is only one motor per bogie, and I'm also planning to get some disc brakes from bicycles, so those are going to be the parking brake, and again this is just a disc which will also go onto the axle, and then the brakes will apply onto this disc brake. So that's one thing which I needed, one for each bogie, so 2 into together. And finally, these are the T204 self-aligning bearing blocks, and normally you have this top piece here which got cut off, and I got some pockets milled for the springs, and that's how it's all going to be installed in the bogie. So it's exactly the same design that I used in some of my wagons, and they turned out to be really good, so I'm just using the same thing for the new Loco as well. So this is where I'm at the moment, and I've just removed the 2 wires which kept the pantograph upright. So I can just gently lower it down, and that's going to be the done position. And because I'm missing the link, which is going to keep the pantograph in a nice vertical movement, obviously it can rock from side to side, but at least some of the stops that I have included here will just prevent the pantograph from hitting the roof. And of course it's never going to be in the middle position, so if it's in the up position, I have a couple of brackets here. I think I mentioned it in the previous video, so that will keep it sort of like vertical and symmetrical. And of course the spring tension here and here will make sure that it stays that way. And then once I lower it manually, I can lift the spring and make sure that it catches on this lip, so that's going to keep it on the lower position. I think I mentioned this in the previous video, but I wanted to say it again. So that's how it's supposed to work. And well, I don't have the spring, so I can't really test it, but hopefully it is going to work as intended. So just to make sure that these bolt joints are not vibrating too much and also kept in alignment, I also purchased some nylon washers. So I think I'm going to use nylon washers in most of these places, so it doesn't grind off the paint. One reason, and I think probably it is, I can tighten against these nylon washers maybe a little bit better, and I'm going to use locking nuts in each of these positions, so at least hopefully they are not going to come loose by sort of the Loco vibrating or the up and down motion. Well, at least that's the plan, and hopefully it's going to work that way, because I want some sort of compromise between making these connections really tight by tightening up the knots, but also not making them too loose, so it is too much movement in here. So at the moment, at least this pantograph feels a little bit rigid. I think for the other one, I made some mistakes in the welding. So as you can see, it's pretty much crooked. Nothing is exactly 90%, right angle, or sort of like this points to sort of like 5 degrees up instead of being in the plane of this whole arm. But this is what I could do by just holding things and then welding them together. But it's not a big deal. If it turns out to be really, really bad, I can just throw this part away and manufacture a new one, and hopefully that's going to be better. Or maybe I can just flip this around. Maybe I can play around with the alignment. If the other one is crooked as well, I just move them again so the two sides cancel each other out. But I will see that once I have everything assembled. But before I do that, I really want to get this painted, well, the pantograph parts painted, because at least that will show some progress and I can just really focus on the body again and getting some real progress with this Loco. So I think that will be all for today. Thanks for watching, and hopefully see you in the next video.